Hey there, folks. Another battle report here. 2,500 points. Beastmen versus Warriors of Chaos. My friend, the Beastmen player, is nice enough to host again. So what we're going to do is just a quick, well, I don't know if it'll be quick, but a battle line battle, and in my ongoing efforts to go through some of the special characters and try them out, ones that don't get played that often, I have decided to have my army led by Lakor, the father, the First Daemon Prince. We'll see what kind of damage he can do. So he's not the most resilient of characters, but he does is a lore master of shadow, so we're going to see if we can confuse my Beastman opponent. So like I said, battle line, and I will go through my army first, and then I'll walk through my opponents. So we have 10 Forsaken of Khorne, Chimera with Regen and Flaming Breath, 1 unit of Skull Crushers, Banner, Musician, no Magic Banner, no Champion. There's Lakor, another unit of Skull Crushers, same thing. Warhounds, I believe I gave them Vanguard, I'll have to go back and look. Knights, Bear with Lances, couldn't afford anything else. 5 Warhounds, a unit of Marauder, Horsemen with Flails, Mark of Khorne, and Shields and Light Armor, so they do not Vanguard. And my goal with this list was to try to take everything that's kind of speedy that I actually had models for. So what I did, I need to have an infantry block, so I went with 39 Marauders with Flails, Mark of Khorne, and Wolfric. So may not be the most competitive choice, but he is an ambush with Sea Fangs, so we're going to see if we can cause some monkey business with that. So that's my 2,500 points. Man, it doesn't seem like a lot, but it never does with Warriors. So let's go on to what my opponent has. He has a Tuskor Chariot. He has a big block of Gores with 2 hand weapons, with his BSB in the corner there with the +1 Strength Banner. He has a block of 30-something? 37. Bestigor with great weapons. And one of your casters is in that? Both of them are in that? Your general caster's in that, the other caster's in the other block?
He's in
the Ungor. That's a weird target. Looks like he's got 5 Minotaurs and then a Gore Bull, not a Doom Bull. He's got his Ungor Raiders with his caster in the front. He's got the Harpies in the back, and then another Tuskor Chariot. So let's go to Magic here really quick. I am Bellacor's a Lore Master of Shadow, level 4, so I don't need to go through all of that. My opponent has 2 level 4s, one of Beasts, one Lore of the Wild. So for Beasts, or for Wild, he has Vile Tide, Brace Scream, Traitorkin, that's the one that goes after the mounts, I don't like that, and Savage Dominion. He does have a Gorgon from the last game I think he's hoping to bring in.
Little Billy gets to watch.
And that's all he's going to do this game. The last time he got crushed by Kolek. And then he's got his level 4 of Beasts, ended up with Wissons, Curse of Anra here, Amber Spear, and the Savage Beast of Horus. So I won the deployment roll, I made him deploy, I won the roll to go first, so we're going to go on to Where's the Chaos turn 1. Right, end of Warriors turn 1, I did not Vanguard anything up because nothing has Vanguard. So I moved these guys up behind the hills to try to draw out his chariot. Don't really have much to deal with his blocks yet. I'm going to try to focus on the Minotaurs. So everything here kind of just skated up a little bit. And then Magic Phase, obviously no charges. Magic Phase, I rolled a 2 and a 1 and I channeled, so I had 4 dice. I threw 2 at Melkoth's on the Minotaurs. He dispelled that with his 2 dice. And then I threw my remaining 2 dice at Steed of Shadows, which I have never used. I don't see a lot of people using, to let him, Bellacore, move up a little bit closer and start doing some dirty stuff next turn, and out of the charge arc of the chariot. So, no shooting, of course, no combat, so on to Beastmen turn 1. Okay, end of Beastmen turn 2. A bit of an eventful turn, so my opponent kind of shuffled up. He declared 2 charges, 1 charge over here. Of course, my opponent he may be the king of miscast, as we'll talk about later, but he's also the king of getting off long bomb charges. And he needed an 11 on his chariot, and of course he got 11. So that charge here, moved these guys kind of around, backed up his Minotaurs like he always does, and then attempted to charge over here with his other Tuskor against my Forsaken and failed that one. So then we went on to Magic, and he rolled a 6 and a 5. And the first thing he tried to cast was Vile Tide with some cheesy fetish magic doohickey that allowed him to reroll wounds. And so he casted Vile Tide on Be'lakor and rolled like 15 hits, rerolling. He got 7 through, and so I guess I did okay. Be'lakor only took 2 wounds. I guess out of that, he should have taken 3.5. So 2 wounds left in my 4-wound general. Maybe now regretting putting him way out there. But my opponent also rolled a double 6. What does that mean? That means he has to roll the miscast chart, and again he rolled. No, I don't think last time he did that. But this time he rolled a 2 and a 1, which is Dimensional Cascade. And so he was in a unit of skirmishers, so they didn't take that much damage, only lost 2 Ungor Raiders.
3 1s to 1 there.
But yeah, that was ridiculous. But then he rolled a 2 or a 3 or whatever on the get sucked into the void thing and got sucked into the void. So that was a pretty decent trade, although my general's 500 points. His guy was 300 points. So the bottom line is he doesn't have any more Lore of the Wild left. That caused a panic check for the Ungor unit, but they made it on their general's 9-up. Other magic that he cast with Lore of Beasts, he tried Amber Spear on my Chimera. I used all my dice on that, stopped it. Even though I rolled a boatload of 1s and 2s, I managed to beat him. And then he did Curse of Anrahir on one of the Skull Crush units. I didn't have any dice left to stop it, and I don't have it as a spell scroll. Not sure I would have used it anyways. And then over here, we went into combat, and my horsemen weren't supposed to be charged. They took 3 impact hits. 4 impact? 3 impact hits. And I did a wound to him, he did a wound to me. No, he didn't do a wound to me. So he beat me by 3 with 3 wounds, and the charge I broke, and he pursued but did not catch. So now we are on to Warriors turn 2. Alright, end of Warriors of Chaos turn 2, and this game is not going at all well for the Warriors. So not only did I ploy my knights terribly, that's not a wound marker, that's just telling me, because I had to park them on the side of the hill. Well, we'll get to that. So, the horsemen rallied right in front of the chariot, and I had no other I had some charges over here. I charged the chariot with my Forsaken? Was it the Forsaken first?
Be'lakor.
Be'lakor first. They fled. That was my only charge. And then shuffled the Forsaken around, moved the Chimera up, kept these guys still. The other Skullcrusher unit couldn't charge. Neither of them could charge. Everything was out of range. Moved these guys up for a double flee. Did something stupid with these guys because of the poor positioning. So that was it for that. And then Magic, I rolled a 7 and a 1, didn't channel, and the first thing I tried to do was Pit of Shades on 4 dice, and I didn't make the casting cost with a level 4. So I rolled a lot of 1s and 2s this game for Magic, so that was the end of my Magic phase. No shooting, no combat, and a very dissatisfying Warriors of Chaos turn 2. Alright, and Beastmen turn 2. Charges declared. Over here, I fled, hoping to get him off the table with my last 2 dudes. He pursued, but didn't go off the table. Charges, he charged the Bestigor into the flank of my knights, didn't make it. He charged...
Gore into the knights failed.
Yeah, that's...
Gore into the dogs.
Yeah, Bestigor into the dogs fled, they spooked the other dogs next to them, because I'm still a moron about the double flee thing. And so then he just stumbled forward because he couldn't complete the charge into the Skull Crushers. The Minotaurs tried charging Be'lakor and failed. His chariot rallied. And then in movement, he moved the Raiders around back behind the Minotaurs. Did nothing with the Harpies. And then we went to Magic, and again he rolled like a 12? He rolled a 12. Of course. But so he always gets a lot of power dice, but then he always miscasts. So he only has beasts left, and he did. What did you try to do first? Was it Curse of Anrahir was the first spell you tried?
No, I did Savage Beast on the Gorble.
Well, that's right, you got that off.
Yeah.
And then Curse of Anrahir you got off again on the same Skullcrusher unit.
Which is where I miscast.
and he miscast there, but he rolled the 7, which he lost power dice and took a strength 6 hit, which didn't wound. But that was the end of his magic phase. Shooting, he tried shooting at the Chimera, nothing happened. And we have no combat, so that's the end of Beastmen turn 2. Let's hope for a little bit better Warriors turn 3. Warriors turn 3, a little bit better, still not optimum. So for movement, I did declare a charge. I tried to put the Forsaken into the Tuskor over there, didn't make it, would require a long charge. The Skull Crushers failed, the left-hand Skull Crushers failed their test and had to go into the Minotaurs. They failed, moved forward a couple inches. I think those were my only charges. Movement, first off, before I forget, Wulfric again didn't come on with his Marauder Horde. Movement, I moved the Chimera and the Bellicor in the backfield to do some damage back there, really trying to do the shoot and scoot kind of thing and not go right into the front of some pretty bad units, especially when my general's a little weakened already, very weakened already. So on to magic. I think I rolled a 6 and a 1. I threw 3 dice at Miasma and got that off. He let it go. I dropped his Minotaur's movement by 2. And then I tried Pit of Shades with the remainder of my dice. I rolled like a 21 and he got it with all of his. So that was in the magic phase. Shooting, I put the flame template down from the Chimera and ended up killing 8 of the Bestigor. That's one of my primary targets for this game, just because I really don't like Bestigor, and because they mess up my Skull Crushers. And that was it. No combat, so now we're on to Beastmen turn 3. Alright, Beastmen turn 3, and the Warriors still, I'm not too happy with my performance thus far. But, so my opponent's doing just fine. So his charges, he charged the Bestigor in and rolled a pretty long charge and got it into my Skull Crushers. He did not charge the Minotaur. He charged the Chariot into my Forsaken and made a reasonable charge. I'm keeping track because I always feel like I get outcharged by him. I think it's his dice. Those were the only charges we had. Movement, he shuffled this guy over, he shuffled this guy over, he turned around the Raiders to take some pot shots at Bellicor. Yeah, magic, he got off Savage Beast on the Gorble. He tried to get the +1 strength and toughness bonus off on the Bestigor. I threw all my dice at that. And then he got Curse of Anrahir off on the other Skull Crushers again. So
3 for 3.
Yes. Shooting, he whiffed against Bellicor with his -2 to hit in the shooting phase. Combat, he charged in, so I did 4 wounds to him, which is a little low, I thought. And he did 3 wounds back. He won by a charge, a rank, and an extra... No, he won by charge and a rank. I had an extra wound. I lost combat, but stuck. Over here, the Chariot did 6 impact hits, and I did 3. We've got to mark the Chariot with 3 wounds. He did 5... No, he did 7 wounds to the Forsaken unit, the Forsaken with Hatred. It went pretty well, but still with 6 impact hits, and then I couldn't make an armor save to save my life afterward. They broke, and he pursued, and they went off the board. And that's it for Beastmen turn 3. So let's see what Warriors can do turn 4. Right, end of Warriors turn 4. And a pretty good turn, although the end was crap for me. For one, Wulfric came on over here. He's going to mess around with the Gore. And he called out their BSB as his chosen target. For charges, the Juggernauts charged the flank. They have Curse of Honor here. They took a wound. No, he didn't take a wound on the charge. The Chimera went in the rear. And Lakor just moved around the flank of the Minotaur, who I think are going to charge in. That may not be good. These guys hiked around. Magic, I attempted Miasma on the Bestigor. He blew it up, then got through Enfeebling Foe, dropped their strength by 2. That was pretty nice. That was the end of my magic phase. Didn't have any shooting in combat. I, with Juggernauts in the front, the side, Chimera in the rear, Stomps, Thunder Stomps, I crushed the units. You can see what's left, but he has the Crown of Command. So he's stuck on a double 1, which I guess he would have stuck with anyways. That's the second bat rep you've rolled double 1s when I should have just demolished you. So that wasn't good. I didn't really have another choice. And then these guys attempted to charge over here, didn't make it. I just was trying to get them out of the way. So, that is the end of Warriors turn 3, and we'll see what the Warriors 4, and we'll see what the Beastmen can do in the bottom of 4. Right, Beastmen turn 4. This was another. We've had a couple combats now. We're not quite sure what to do. I don't get a lot of comments on my videos, but if somebody does want to comment on this. So he charged in with the Minotaur in the flank, in the flank of my Skull Crushers. You did not have any other charges. You reformed over here to face Wulfric. Movement, I don't think you... Oh, you moved... Sorry for the cluttered table. Moved this guy closer to the Warhounds. Moved the Harpies over the top, and I don't know if you moved the Chariot or if it's just kind of sitting there. Magic, you tried... No, you didn't get Savage Beasts off. I blew up Savage Beasts with my Dispel dice that you tried to get on the Doom Bull. And you got off Whiston's Wild Form on the Gore, which I'm not super cool with, but I didn't have any dice left. And that's a distant threat, comparatively. So shooting, he tried again for Be'lakor, and he got a bunch of hits, more than he should have, but didn't wound the Dark Master. Then we went to combat, and this is where things got a little weird. So the Skull Crushers killed everybody. The Skull Crushers all went. They mulched. I put everything on the front unit except for one Skull Crusher, which killed off a Minotaur because he took 1 damage to, or took 1 wound from going into the forest. Yeah, and so the Bestigors were essentially evaporated, but he did a lot. But what that did was that took the Skull Crushers that were on the right out of combat, and they technically can't leave combat. I killed enough, so many that there was no way I could move the Skull Crushers forward without taking them out of base contact with the Minotaurs. Now, I don't know if the Minotaurs should have shifted to the videos left or not. Well, we treated them as 2 separate combats. And then the other Skull Crushers went, the Chimera went, and his stupid general with the Talisman of Endurance and Stubborn Crown stuck. But he, his Minotaurs just demolished, and it was the worst rolling I've seen. I think on 7 wounds, I didn't make one. Well, I made 1 3-up armor save, 7 or 8 wounds, something ridiculous. So the Skull Crusher's evaporated. He's in a fungus forest. This combat's still going on. I'm going to slide over and make sure I have both my Skull Crushers in base contact because I want revenge on his general. So we're going to go now into Warriors turn 5. That was Warriors turn 5, and a good turn in some ways, not a good turn in the other. So what did I do? I charged my knights into the chariot, I charged my dogs into his raiders, and I charged Wulfric and the marauders into his gore. You can see who's there and who's not there, but I'll go through it. And then magic, I rolled a 2 and a 1 again. I needed a big magic phase to try to buff up the marauders, and I rolled a 2 and a 1 for the second or third magic phase in this game. No, that was the second phase. I rolled a 2 and a 1. So, what did I cast in magic? I threw it all on Withering on the Gore, and it got through, and it dropped his toughness by 1, which canceled out that part of the Wissons. And then we went to shooting, didn't have any in combat. I rolled over his chariot. I took 1 wound to dangerous terrain. I finally killed off his general. That's at least satisfying. And turned to face. I killed the raiders and charged them, or one of the raiders charged him off the table. And then over here, Wulfric declared his charge and absolutely mulched his BSB. No question about it. And I did like 21 wounds with them. No, only 12? 12 wounds because some dismal rolling. Hitting on 3s, wounding on 3s. It should have done much better than that, but it didn't. So, and then he came back, he got Primal Fury, and he was +1 strength. And he did like 22 wounds. I needed Snake Eyes to stick. I didn't, and I fled off the table. So that was pretty painful. I guess Wulfric sniped off his BSB, but I was really hoping for more from that, and these guys need some magic support. So now we're on to Beastmen turn 5, and see what he has left. He has a big block of Gore, unsupported, low leadership. See what we can do with that. And he has some Minotaurs and some Harpies. So let's see what we can do. Do your worst, Beastman. Very quick Beastmen turn 5. He turned the Gore to face the battle. He moved up the chariot, he moved the Harpies near the woods, he turned the Minotaurs to face the backside of my Chimera, because that's all he's going to see. And that's it for Beastmen turn 5 on a Warriors turn 6.
Hey there, folks. A little after-action report. First, let's go over what happened at the end of the battle after Beastmen turn 5. I think the Beastmen opponent knew he was kind of in tough shape, but we wanted to play it out really quick. So I declared a charge with lakor against the Gore block, and they failed their terror test because he's -1 to every enemy opponent, -1 leadership to every enemy within 12 inches, so they failed and ran, so that would have been the end for them. And then we tested to see what would happen if I would have charged the knights into the flank, I believe. No, it was the rear of the Minotaur block. And I think I might, if I remember correctly, I think I might have lost 1 knight to the dangerous terrain going through that woods. But I demolished the Minotaurs. I can't remember if I killed them to a Minotaur or if they broke from combat, but that was essentially it. So we played it, we called the game, but then we just went ahead and rolled the dice and see what would have happened. So my overall thoughts on the game, this is probably the worst deployment that I have ever done. I had a game plan, I didn't stick to it. I was particularly embarrassed with the knights. You know you're going to get outnumbered whenever you play essentially any other army other than ogres when you're fielding Warriors of Chaos, but here it was like, I don't know, looking back at it as I was making this battle, I was really kind of kicking myself. I was embarrassed what I did with the knights, drove them up to woods, didn't use them the way I should have. So that was that. I mean, you learn something from every battle report. This one was deployment mistakes. Hopefully I'll get better in the future. But what I also learned in this battle, and moving on to the second part of this after action, is I came to a conclusion about lakor, and I just don't think he is worth playing in fantasy, in a Warriors of Chaos army, and probably not in the Demons either, because I don't think he gets different rules. I don't have it in front of me right here, his rule set. Actually, I do. So while I pull it up, I think my biggest concern was his fragility. So the guy comes in at 500 points and only comes with a toughness 5 and a 4-up ward save. And that just is not... that's just not enough. You saw what happened turn 1 between Viletide, and yeah, he had the cheesy Hag Tree fetish, where he got to reroll wounds in the magic shooting phase. And I think they try to make Be'lakor better by saying he's -2 to hit in the shooting phase, but that doesn't protect him in the magic phase. And even the shooting phase, it's not really that good. So essentially, if anything gets through, you've got a 50-50 shot, and the thing's got 4 wounds. So for 500 points, you know, his movement 8 plus flying, weapon skill 9, ballistic skill 5, strength 6, toughness 5, 4 wounds, initiative 8, 5 attacks, and he's leadership 10. I was scared to death that he almost got killed by shooting from Viletide, which is a bunch of strength 1 or strength 2 hits. All the guy, my opponent had to do was roll a bunch of 6s, and he rolled a lot of 6s to wound with the reroll, and I almost lost a 500-point general. And I just don't think that. I mean, his special rules are he's Terror, Unbreakable, Fly. He's Lore Master, Lore of Shadow, Demonic Attacks. He's the Dark Master, which is the -1 leadership to any enemy within 12 inches. The Shadow form, he gets a 4-up ward save, and then attack the target Be'lakor in the shooting phase have a -2 to hit modifier. And then Lord of Torment is if an enemy unit fails a panic or break test, he gets D3 additional power dice. It's not per unit, it's if a unit fails, if an enemy unit fails. And only he can use them. So that stuff's kind of good, but for 500 points, the Lore Master, it just didn't help me because I kept rolling, you saw in the video, really low magic die totals. And I think you need to be able to sling a lot of spells. So if I were going to play him again, one, I don't think I would, but I would probably have maybe a sorcerer, like a level 1 or level 2, just carrying the Skull of Katam. I'd have to go back and look at the rulebook and see if with the Skull of Katam you can it's only that wizard that can use those power dice, or they go into the power pool. And essentially just have that guy there either to do just 6 dice something, or, you know, give power dice essentially to Be'lakor. But then again, I mean, do you really want to give up Skull of Katam? Nope. So the Skull of Katam, you can give, if you channel, you can give those dice to the power pool. It doesn't say you have to give it to that one wizard. But even if you want to slink a bunch of spells, that dramatically increases the chance that you're going to miscast. And since you only have a 4-up ward save, you can kill your general that way, never mind rolling the Dimensional Cascade. So I guess in this case, I mean, so it's more of a support demon. I think I played him okay. You get behind the lines, you monkey with terror tests, you monkey with their leadership. I played a low leadership army, but you kind of want it to be defendable. I mean, I'd hate if, you know, I faced an Empire gunline or Wood Elves or something and just got peppered with shots, and suddenly your general and 500 points is out the window because you only have a 4-up ward save. You could build a better Demon Prince. I don't really care for Demon Princes that much. I don't care for the unkillable Demon Prince. I think it's a bit cheesy and not a whole lot of fun for your opponent. That's just me. But this is almost like a support character you have to protect, and it's a Demon Prince and it's 500 points. So that was 20% of my army that I had to be really careful about. I couldn't just throw out there like you could a lot of the other Demon Princes. So those are my thoughts on Be'lakor. Will I take him again? No, not unless it's a theme list. I got the model in case I like my War Shrine, and I wanted to have an actual Demon Prince model in case I rolled the double 6s and passed the leadership test. So I won't play him again. I wonder what other people's thoughts are if you've made it this long into the video. If not, or if you have, I welcome your thoughts. And let's see some more wargaming out there. Let's see some more of those special characters. That's what I love to play with the Warriors book. That's why I'm spending so much time with Kolek, Sun Eater, and Be'lakor, and I'm going to try working through all the other special characters as well. I think they add some real flavor to the armies. So that's it, folks, and happy wargaming.